Hey there, welcome back to my kitchen. Today I wanted us to share some real life meals that we had last week that all took about 30 minutes or less, so no time at all really to get these together for our dinner. These were all pretty simple meals, but I still hope that you can find some inspiration out of today's video and give you some ideas for your next meal plan. First up today, we're making a baked cod with potatoes and broccoli. The very first thing I did was preheat my oven to 400 degrees and then over to a lined baking sheet. I have 3 small pieces of cod. These are skinless and I am just going to spray them lightly with some avocado oil. Now to season these, I am not measuring any certain amount. I'm just sprinkling a nice little layer of each of the following seasonings. First, you'll add some lemon pepper seasoning. Next, I'm adding this Kinder's buttery steakhouse seasoning. Next, I'm adding a very light shake of cayenne pepper over each one. Go very light with this one. And then you'll add salt and parsley over the top as well. You can season the other side too if you want to, but honestly, I think these were just fine seasoning one side. I stuck these in my oven and those baked for about 8 to 10 minutes until the fish was nice and flaky and hitting at least 145 degrees. While the cod was in the oven, I did go ahead and get my potatoes started. I just made my mashed potatoes and I also cooked up some broccoli to go along with this. Here's the cod coming out of the oven. This is what it looked like. And then this is what my plate looked like in the end. Like I said, I made mashed potatoes and I also made some broccoli to go along with this. Overall, cod is my favorite fish to eat just like this, baked in the oven or in the air fryer. This is a really simple seasoning mix that I love. This meal took almost no time at all, right around 20 minutes. Up next, we're going to make some pizza quesadillas. Everybody in your family should love these, especially because you can customize them however you want to. I like to cook these on my griddle just because there is a lot more surface area, which makes it easier for me to cook more than one at a time. You can use regular sized tortillas if you want to. You can even use street sized tortillas if you want to make small ones for little hands. Or you can be like me and use this nice big burrito sized tortilla. I added some avocado oil onto my griddle and then I moved my tortilla around in that just to make sure it was nicely covered on the back side. Next, I'm adding a handful of shredded mozzarella cheese. Mine was freshly shredded and I think that works a lot better. I drizzled just a little bit of pizza sauce on here. I actually was using a spaghetti sauce jar, but that's totally fine. You can use that. It tastes almost identical to me, so I just went ahead and used my spaghetti sauce that I had open in the refrigerator. I'm only going to add a little bit of this sauce though. I don't want to make this soggy, and I want to make sure there is some left over for my husband to dip his quesadilla in. On top of that, I added some pepperoni. I like to use turkey pepperoni, but regular will be fine too. On top of that, I added a little bit of jalapenos because we love spice in this house, some more shredded mozzarella cheese, and then I also added some garlic powder and oregano. No measurements, just sprinkled a little bit on there. I'm going to get that closed up and scoot it over to the other side so I can get the other one started. I like to cook these on a low to medium heat. That way there is plenty of time for all the cheese and everything inside to heat up and melt down. I also flip it back and forth pretty often just to keep an eye on how dark it gets on the back side. And also by flipping it back and forth, it allows the heat to come from both sides and help get that cheese to melt as well. On some of these, I actually added some sliced Gouda cheese that I had in the refrigerator. I just kind of wanted to use it up. But it actually was so good on here. I would definitely recommend adding some sliced Gouda. It was delicious. Once it's done on the griddle, I do move it over to my cutting board and I let that cool down for about 5 minutes or so before cutting into it. Using my pizza cutter, I'll just cut this into 4 triangles, and then this is what it'll look like on the inside. Here is what a finished plate will look like. I just served mine with some ranch dressing, but you can also use more of the marinara or pizza sauce or any other dipping sauce that you like. Let me know down below if you're a ranch and pizza fan. I absolutely love dipping my pizza in ranch dressing. It makes it so good. Funny story, my husband actually used to hate ranch dressing when we first got together. That was about 7.5 years ago now, and I have converted him into a ranch lover as well now. And of course, now we're going to make some baked chicken and zucchini, and I know this meal doesn't look super visually pleasing, but it was really good and there was a lot of good flavors from all these spices. I went ahead and preheated my oven to 375 degrees, and now over to this small bowl, we're going to go ahead and get our seasoning mixture done. I'm adding 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, 1/2 teaspoon of smoked paprika, 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder, 1/2 teaspoon of thyme, 1/2 teaspoon of basil, 1/2 teaspoon of rosemary, 1/4 teaspoon of parsley, and then just a few shakes of cayenne pepper. Once I got all those seasonings mixed up in that little bowl, I sat it aside for just a minute and I pulled out my 9x13 baking dish to add in my chicken breasts. I did spray this down with just a little bit of nonstick spray, just to be safe. I don't know if you can tell just by looking at it, but these chicken breasts I had were absolutely ginormous. I did go ahead and just season both sides with that seasoning, and I really should have cut these in half to make them cook a little better in the oven. So if you have really big pieces of chicken, I would recommend slicing them in half and just make 4 smaller chicken breasts. But now I'm just covering those completely with that seasoning, sprinkling the extra over the top, and just kind of rubbing that in with my hand. I put these in the oven to bake for about 25 minutes until they were cooked all the way through. Now to get started on the simple side dish I made this night, I took 1 zucchini, cut that in half, and then cut it into half moons. I'm also taking half of a yellow onion. I'm going to just slice that and then cut it once down the middle to keep those a pretty decent size. And now I'm just slicing up about 6 ounces of these mushrooms. I also like to remove the stems of my mushrooms. I don't like the texture of the stems, but you can leave the stems on if you want to. Over to a skillet, I added about a tablespoon of olive oil and a tablespoon of butter. I'm just going to let those melt down and heat up, and then I will add in my mushrooms, zucchini, and onion. I let these cook in here for about 8 to 10 minutes until my zucchini was fork tender. You'll also want to try to get some of this good color on there. That's when you know they are good to go. Next, I'm adding about 2 teaspoons of minced garlic in here, followed by 1/2 teaspoon of thyme and 1/2 teaspoon of oregano. And then I did add some salt and pepper to taste. And if you're wondering what I mean by that, I just add in a little bit, I give it a taste, and then if I think it needs more, I add some more salt or pepper. I feel like everybody has a different tolerance for salt and pepper, so that's why I say to season to taste. Here's what my finished plate looked like. Like I said, this is not the most visually pleasing meal, but it was really simple and took almost no time at all to get together. There is a lot of seasonings used in this meal, but they turn out so good together. And this side dish, I actually make this a lot for my lunches. I'll just take something like this and throw in whatever I have in the refrigerator that needs to get used up, and then it makes the perfect lunch. Thank you so much for watching today. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, don't forget to leave a flower down in the comments. I hope you found some inspiration in today's video, and I will see you back here on Wednesday. Bye!